Assalamu Alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and hello everyone. Today I want to share about this topic which is about why do year 1 medical students fail. The reason why I want to share this topic because this is part of my master studies, alright? And where I need to conduct a research. So when we talk about research or study, there are two types. First, quantitative and qualitative. Hence, for my master studies, I'm actually conducting a qualitative research to explore the hows and whys of academic failure. So we can see that I'm actually exploring, investigating the qualitative side of academic failure. Okay, in specific, I'm actually doing document phenomenology, which means I'm doing analysis on the documents, and phenomenology, which means the studies on the phenomenon of academic failure. Right, how about my population sample? Okay, so my studies is on 16 year 1 medical students from 3 different cohorts. So we can see here 3 different cohorts means there are 3 years worth of data. And I perform document analysis on both interview transcripts and reflective essays. Alright, when we talk about failure, I believe all of us has our own perspective, has our own definition on what does failure means. But for my studies, I'm going to define what does academic failure means so that everyone is on the same page, okay? So academic failure in my study means it is an outcome where a year 1 medical student struggle and fail the whole academic year. So this student fail, okay, due to failure in one or more assessments, either in knowledge, skills, or attitude, professionalism. Alright, so you've already know the context of my master study and the definition of academic failure. Now, I'm going to share with you the journey from the data until how I reached to my finding. So it all begins with the documents. Okay, I perform analysis on both interview transcripts and reflective essays. Then, after making sense of all of the data, the findings of each student are put in text, in writings, in story form. Subsequently, from their individual story, I actually created a flow or a figure or individual process of academic failure for these 16 year 1 medical students. And finally, alright, we reach to the final, which is on the general process of the case. What is the process of academic failure that is represented by these 16 year 1 medical students? And this is my finding, alright, my finding on the process of academic failure. We can see that the process is long, is complex, and it's complicated. And I bet that not everyone can see the small wordings here, but it's okay because the purpose of me sharing this video is first to make everyone aware that this is the process of academic failure for year 1 medical students. It is complex and it's actually throughout the whole 1 year. So the process, it begins from the beginning of the year until the end of the year. Alright, because the process of academic failure is quite complex, then I want to break it down into simple terms so that everyone can follow. Right, so let's talk about the process of academic failure, part 1. At the beginning of the year, it all started with critical incidents. Okay, so I'm going to explain more about critical incidents in my next video, so please stay tuned. Then, from critical incidents, it leads to possible resulting events. Then, these students underwent mid-of-year assessments, which I think is similar to all of you students, regardless whether you are in medical degree or not. And after their mid-of-year assessments, what are these students' reactions to mid-of-year assessments result? Okay, so this is part 1. Now, process of academic failure, part 2. I'm going to continue from the previous slide, okay, from reactions to mid-of-year assessments results, which will lead to 3 different types of attempts. Okay, so the first attempt is attempts indicating ineffective or decrease in engagements. So when we talk about engagement, in my study, this means student engagement in learning, student engagement in their teaching and learning sessions. How do they involve with their study, their participation? That's for the first attempt. Second attempt is attempts indicating increase in engagement. And the third attempt is these students continued with similar lack of engagement in learning after receiving the assessment's results. So from here, we can see that there are 3 different types of attempts. And my findings demonstrated that the first and the third attempts leads to academic failure, which is quite obvious or common sense because these attempts are either ineffective or lacking because they continued what they did before their mid-of-year assessments. But then, my finding also noted that the second attempt, which is positive, which indicating increase in engagement, also leads to academic failure. And why is that? It's because of the interfering influences, which cause it to lead to academic failure. So this is the simplified version of the process of academic failure. If you have any thoughts or questions, you can put in the comment below. Otherwise, I'm going to see you in my next video talking in detail about critical incidents. Thank you.